I started cheering actually competitively. Like my first cheer competition was in New Orleans when I was 3 years old. I did an individual at 3 years old. And then, I was in like tumbling classes ever since like 11 months. I've always been around it, and that's, I guess, what's made me interested because I've never been anywhere but in the gym. I was probably like in middle school. I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and I'd had it, and it really wasn't that bad. And I went for a yearly checkup. Every time it'd get like a little bit worse. My stunt group would always have to adjust to me in high school because my hips were uneven, and like this hip was a lot higher than this hip, and so I was always like lopsided in the air, and so they would have to adjust to me. So I made it harder on other people too. We always planned to get surgery like after cheerleading was all done because that's what I wanted to do, and it wasn't that bad. Right after my 16th birthday, and went for a checkup, and the doc came in. I expected him to say the same thing he always says, that I'm good, I'll see you in a year, but he said something completely different. I needed surgery, and I needed it now. I couldn't wait. That kind of threw me for a loop because I wasn't expecting to hear that. So after that, he started talking to me about it, and my first question, of course, was, well, what about cheerleading? He was like, well, Brianna, you're gonna have to start working from your neck up. And usually at the doctor, I'm like really shy, and I'm like, yes, sir. But this time I was like, well, what does that mean? And he was like, cheerleading, all the tumbling and the stunting, like, you're not gonna be able to do that anymore. Like, your back, you're gonna have 2 metal rods like holding your back up. Like, it's not gonna work like that anymore. So I went to cheer camp literally the next day after that appointment, and I got back from cheer camp a week later, had 2 days of my summer, and on June 15th I went in for surgery. Somebody had told my mom before that it would be kind of scary when I woke up because like my body was just gonna feel so horrible and weird. Well, I just didn't really know what it was gonna feel like. So when I woke up, I got really scared because I couldn't move like anything. And I remember saying, I was like, I think I'm paralyzed. And they were like, no, you're not paralyzed. But like I was telling my body to move certain ways, and it just wasn't moving at all. I was just sitting still. And I stayed in the hospital. I was only supposed to be there for like 3 or 4 days. I was there for 7, and I was really sick. I wasn't eating. I got down to about 85 or 90 pounds. But on the 7th day, they weren't even gonna take me out of the hospital, but finally I was just so depressed and miserable that my parents just took me out and took me home because it was horrible. One of the worst things that was going on was during surgery, I guess, I got a herniated disc, and it sent like this pain down my leg, like this nerve, and I can't describe that pain. It hurt so bad, and I would sit there and just cry all day over it, and it was the worst thing ever because I don't like to cry, and it was horrible. I felt so weak and stuff, and yeah, to this day I will be sitting in class or anywhere, and I'll get that pain down my leg, and it takes me back a little bit. But because I know, like, I'm not gonna act like I was motivated the whole time and I was just in this positive attitude, because I had some bad attitudes. There were days that I was like, I'm never cheering again because I just can't do it. In the hospital, I had these PTs that would come in and get me out of bed and make me walk. Well, every time they walked in the room, I'd start crying because I knew I was about to be in so much pain. And they would come in, and just like getting me off the bed in the hospital was like a process. Like I had to roll over, they had to pick me up. It was so painful. It was the worst thing ever. I'd have nurses on both sides of me, and just being able to walk around the desk outside my room, like that was a big deal because I usually couldn't make it around it. And so I finally, I could kind of walk, but like even when I got back home, I was too weak. So like my parents would have to hold on to me, and the most activity I got for like months was walking to the mailbox, and it was painful. And my parents would have to hold on to me, and it was horrible. I know there were like pastors that came in my hospital room every single day, like the same ones came in every single day because they were so worried about me, and just everybody was supporting me the whole time. I had surgery in June, but I didn't bounce back as fast as normal people would because of the epidurals I was having and all that. And when I got to school, I could only go like half days to school because I couldn't sit in a desk that long, and I'd be in so much pain. It took a few months before I could even go a full day of school being able to sit in a desk. Before surgery too, my mom was so worried about like what the scar was gonna look like and how I was gonna feel about it, because I get so self-conscious and dumb over stuff like that. And she was really worried about it, how I was gonna feel, but ended up after surgery, like I loved it. I was like telling everybody, I was like, look, because I felt so tough with it for some reason. And so yeah, I would wear like those backless dresses and stuff because I don't know, I really liked it for some reason. As I got better, I of course wanted to keep cheering, and that was my plan. And I'm hard-headed, so when someone tells me I can't do something, that's when I want to do it. Tryouts were coming up for my high school, so I was getting kind of nervous, and I finally got back in the gym one day, and the first time I got back in the gym, it was completely different than I thought it was going to be, because I thought it was going to be like muscle memory and I was going to know how to do everything still, and it was just going to hurt a little bit. But I was 16 and I walked in the gym and it's like I had never cheered a day in my life. So I really had to start from scratch, just start over. Like I had never cheered before, so that was really hard, and I had to do it in a short amount of time for my high school cheer tryouts. My mom actually told me, because I have such bad mental blocks, she told me that the rods that he put in my back were like flexible, and like that was the biggest lie I've ever heard, because she actually told me the day of tryouts at Mississippi State that she lied about that just so I would start tumbling again. I got back into it. It was painful, but I made cheerleading for my high school and cheered that next year, and so fully to my skill level, it was probably my senior year of high school, like probably right before I came here. Honestly, I was still like, it took forever to recover completely. The time we left that day when they told me I was gonna have surgery, I wanted to cheer in college, and I know that like if I didn't overcome that, like I wouldn't be at Mississippi State at all. Like that, this is why I'm here, was to come cheer, and like it all just fell into place, and like so like I know for a fact I would not be at Mississippi State if it wasn't for that surgery.